Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Scott here, and today we're going to talk about if the Lakers' young core has already reached its potential. This season, the young core was expected to take the next step in their development. While there have been flashes of improvement from all of them, the season as a whole has been a little bit underwhelming. A lot of this has to do with injuries to themselves and to teammates, but their play, even when they've been healthy, has been largely inconsistent. Now, of course, the young core are some of the last few players to blame for the season the Lakers have had, and with all that's went on, they probably have good reasoning for not taking that next step. Next year, assuming they're able to stay healthy, is where we'll really start to see what kind of players they'll become as they're entering their third and fourth years. Ingram, Lonzo, Kuzma, and Hart all at times had their quality stretches throughout the season, which showed their true potential, and those cannot be ruled out. Brandon Ingram was the most recent one to have a great stretch, and probably the longest one of the four. Since Lonzo went down in January, he's averaged 23 points on 56% shooting from the field and 40% from three. Then in the 6 games after the All-Star break, he upped those numbers to 28 points on 57% from the field and 53% from three. Then he was diagnosed with a DVT in his shoulder and was ruled out for the rest of the season. Based on what we saw from Ingram before he sat out, he was clearly playing like an all-star. And if he's able to continue that performance next season, there's no doubt he will be. Lonzo Ball, like Ingram, also had his best stretch prior to his season-ending injury. He was locking people down defensively and leading the offense with his playmaking, averaging 9 assists in the 6 games before injury. Lonzo probably had the toughest time getting going of the 4 players, but his impact was clearly the most valuable to the team while LeBron and Rondo were injured. If he can continue being that defensive presence like he was, as well as controlling the tempo of the game, then he could be set for a breakout year. Kyle Kuzma was probably the only one that didn't have any outstanding stretches, but he was also the most consistent all season. He was constantly putting up good scoring numbers and showed a lot of improvement as a playmaker. There was a couple weeks back in early December where he was shooting a lot better and was even playing well defensively, but that eventually tapered off as the season went on. His outside shooting as a whole never got to the level it was last season, but a lot of other parts of his game were either the same or an improvement. If he can get that 3-point shooting back to where it was or even better, as well as improve defensively, then he could become an all-star next season. Josh Hart during the first 6 games of the season was almost the Lakers' most valuable player. He was bringing great toughness and energy to a team that at the time was just trying to figure things out. He was also putting up 15 points per game and 43% 3-point shooting. Then he became pretty average until December when LeBron and Rondo went down, which was when he fell off significantly. Since then, he has only put up 7 points on 38% shooting from the field and 28% from 3. During most of this stretch, he was playing through knee tendonitis, and it was clearly affecting his shot. If he can get that knee figured out, there's a chance for him to come back and have a strong season next year, and hopefully get back to the shooting performance he was having in the first half of the year. A lot of the stretches these guys had were a result of many different factors, such as the role they had at the time, and other players being out. It's unrealistic to expect them to always play at the standard they had during their great stretches, but at the same time, they all have to do that more consistently. If they can't come back better next season, then the absolute minimum potential of all 4 of them is that they stay the same or get worse. Ingram could come back as not the same player and play average like the 3rd or even 4th option if the Lakers add a max player. During his worst stretches, he was the definitive 3rd option behind LeBron and Kuzma and was not taking enough initiative in his game. This version of him is clearly not an all-star and is just a starter. Lonzo could end up as just a role player and only be used as the option to guard the other team's star point guard. He could become completely phased out by LeBron and not take control of the game as much. When he plays like this, he's also not an all-star and is really just a utility piece. Kyle Kuzma has his stretches where he's not in game shape and just kind of disappears. He probably has less drop-off potential than Ingram and Lonzo because he doesn't need as many touches, but he could also be phased out if Ingram were to excel next to LeBron and he doesn't get his shooting back. When he plays like that, he's of course not an all-star and is just a scorer. Josh Hart is the only one whose potential may actually be lower than expected. If anything, he took a step back this season and just needs to get his jumper back to where it was. He'll give it his all every game, but the flashes of scoring and finishing ability he had could end up not returning. When he plays like that, he's clearly not going to be a valuable piece or even a rotation player. The potential of the young core is still relatively high, but it just doesn't look as high as it was before the season. A lot can change after a strong summer and a full season where everyone stays healthy. Ingram, Lonzo, and Kuzma can all still become multiple-time all-stars in their future, and Josh Hart can still become a valuable piece to a title run. The championship aspirations of the Lakers might be led by LeBron right now, but they only get to that point if the young core becomes the players they have the potential to be. It will just be up to them to get to that next level, as well as the front office and coaching staff to support them. That's all I have for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more Lakers content like this, then make sure you subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, then make sure you leave a like, and thanks for watching.